Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is safe and healthy. I would like to warmly welcome you to our Do Big Digital Conclave presented to you by Tata Tele Business Services in association with Elets Technomedia. And it is focused on team building tech resilient SMEs in the evolving IT landscape. Elets Technomedia is an 18-year-old multimedia company which helps you connect with leaders and spread the word of innovation. To begin with, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to our valued partner, Tata Telebusiness Services, our esteemed speakers and delegates who have chosen to collaborate with us to be a part of this successful and initiative. And now let me quickly hand over this to Mr. Pankaj Arora, engineer manager, Google, to do the welcome note. So over to you, Mr. Pankaj Arora.
Thanks, Nishant. And first of all, a very good afternoon to all the viewers, wherever they are in the world. I hope in this pandemic situation, you are taking care of yourself and being safe and taking precautions. Hopefully, we'll come out of this very soon. So, quick intro about myself. So, I'm Pankaj. I have 16 plus years of industry experience. I have worked with uh, two types of industries. I have worked a lot with startups and also with big fours, including Amazon and Google right now where I'm working. And the today agenda or the focus is talking about SME and tech. So today SME actually are very important key players in the overall GDP growth of India and the world. If you just look at the numbers that are published by Amazon and Flipkart, almost 40 million SMEs are there in India, and though out of those 2 millions are are the core enablers of Amazon and Flipkart, which effectively means there is still a wide gap. With 40 million SMEs, only 2 million SMEs are online. And why SMEs are differentiator is something that we should look at. The SMEs have a very upper hand because they are able to do a very specialized innovation, and the reasons are they have a lean structure, they have domain expertise and agility. So what SMEs can do in today's world and maybe 10 years down the line, maybe big companies cannot do it at that pace because they have an inact of fail fast behavior. If we look at technology in today's world, everything is connected. It's not an enabler function today but an integral part of running the business. The time we wake up using digital alarms, we switch on the food warmer or appliances via IoT, take a cab to office, invest in stock market, which is the cool thing right now, order food on the go, check into social media, news, banking, everything on the go on the mobile phone, do a gym booking online, and then go home. So everything is now being processed digitally. The information that is created out of this has a lot of use cases which are utilized across the industries. Today we'll focus more on resilience. Now let's me just explain what exactly resilience is. Going back to this, the standard definition that science tells us about resilience, it's just the capability of somebody to recover to its original shape after a deformation has been caused maybe due to some stress. So looking at the same resilience definition in tech resiliency is the ability of a system to recover from errors or attacks and ensure that there are no major impacts to the customers. Customers are the king. That is a statement that was said true 20 years ago also, and even after 20 years in future we will have this. Just imagine the frustration that you would have if you are trying to use your IoT device. Sorry, you are using your trying to use your IoT devices and the lights doesn't switch on just because there is a malfunction. So today we'll talk about uh, all the ways where we can make tech resilient SMEs, and we have an elite panel with us who will enlighten us on how the businesses are built with resilient tech. And let's start the session. Nishant, over to you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for such a great opening keynote and great start. And next, I would like to welcome the next is an interesting keynote session. I would like to welcome Mr. Thompson Garnham, Managing Director and Global CIO, 3i Infotech. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nishant, and thank you, Pankaj. First of all, a big thank you to Tata Tele and Elets for this opportunity. And well, indeed, and I put digital innovation at the core, and the reason is simple. World is changing very fast. Technology is playing a key role of enabler. Thousands of digital entrepreneurs, innovators, pioneers are the reason why I believe we are planting the seed for a digital decade and a digital world. And COVID has just reset the world, and it's crunched the transformation cycles. It's also kinds of coincidence that we are at the start of the new decade as well when COVID started. So this is a decade of 5G, 6G, edge computing, quantum computing. So let me start by stating some of the key trends and technologies, and then kind of I'll dwell into the core, the SME segment, and the resilience of technology, and how we could probably technology can become the core function, no longer an enabler, to drive growth for the SMEs. So some of the key trends, quickly I'll just touch upon the way I look at how world is moving. 5G networks will drive edge computing services, and which is a convergence of IoT, big data, real-time apps, driving explosive growth. I think that's a very important, change which we'll see in this decade. Need for speed and low latency, reduced cost of bandwidth, reliability of connection, AI capabilities at the source of action are some of the key drivers for the movement from cloud to edge. The need to near zero latency for real-time applications and mission-critical applications, which monitor extremely critical processes, need to be processed at the edge, which will force a huge change from the centralized GB to a CPU at the edge very quickly. And that's a very clear trend which we are seeing. And orchestration of these services products to balance cost, efficiency, effectiveness, and business outcomes would be the new mantra for services business models, the way we look at it. And just to add, Gartner predicts that currently only 10% of data is processed outside a data center, and by 2025, powered by 5G, this would accelerate to almost 75% at the edge of the network. A huge business opportunity for technology services providers to offer IT infra and application management of micro data centers, application development at the edge as a service. And it's going to be fundamentally, anything as a service, the way I look at it. And data is the new oil. I think, we've been talking about it. I'll also touch upon this with regard to the SMB segment, and also some of the key insights which we are covering for today's agenda as well. IoT accelerated by billions of devices which will access the network, as IDC predicts it, almost like 45% of 3x explosion of data in the next 5 years will need to process at the edge intelligently, as all data is not equal, and cognitive engines need to decide on the data lifecycle, on data prioritization, and this will drive opportunities for optimization of virtual machines and storage cost and real-time inference and decision support, edge analytics as a service. And 5G-powered IoT will also drive convergence and coexistence of devices and things, humans and humanoids, and it's required a next-generation cognitive monitoring services, which will also change and reform the way, or refine the way a traditional NOC or a SOC service is also provided. The single biggest challenge for CXOs and CTOs would be to protect the customers at the edge as well, from organized cyber attacks across all devices. And the convergence of network operations and security operations will also enable to secure edge of the networks through SASE, secure access and secure entry powered services. And it's again a great business opportunity and a brand value proposition for telecom service providers and IT service providers. And I also talk about the convergence of that as well. Coming back to our core topic, so this is the SMB segment in India. like Pankaj was talking about it, SME forms a key pillar to the Indian economy. As per government vision, by 2020, SMEs will contribute almost like 50% of India's GDP, and almost 45% of employment and 75% of exports. With more than 80 million SMBs in India across all segments, more than 65% are needs to be or will be digitally influenced in some form or another. Very interesting data, which Pankaj spoke about, almost just a fraction who are in the Amazon platform. That's a clear indicator in terms of how we enable these SMBs to get digitally active. The key challenges for SMBs is, we starting from the basic of digital transformation is cloud adoption, and challenges of having limited technical staff to manage cloud, cost, technical training. And more than 40% of SMB technology teams do not even understand, and some of them are what it means to be a cloud native. But definitely the other part, which is born in the cloud, the startups are driving a different change. Those are very clear two spectrums of SMEs who are trying to change to become a cloud first or a digital first, vis-a-vis to born in the cloud kind of startup SMEs as well. It's a very interesting industry segment. Coming back in the COVID era, if you look at it, recovery has not been equal at all. Globally, we are seeing a K-shaped recovery, as some sectors are growing and the others are degrowing. We need to enable acceleration of growth and scale management of SME sector. I think that's a core part of it. I think it's more important for them to scale and accelerate revenue rather than focus on cost optimization, for them to be part of the K side recovery, which is and all of them also, the ones which are not been recovering needs to focus on cost optimizations, enhanced throughputs, productivity through cloud first and digital first. So the challenges are very extremely different. It depends on where you are with regard to the K. So coming back again to the topic of the day, maybe I'll touch upon some of the topics, and which I think other speakers and panel members will also be talking about. One is transition to cloud-based solution. I think the important point is cloud in a box services for natives, and the ones needs to migrate as well. So we need to also have different boxes for different SMBs who are at different levels of maturities. And hybrid and edge-ready cloud, going beyond just infrastructure support, ensure cloud is bundled, prescribed with the right platforms as well for the SMBs is very important. And cloud has to be elastic and mirrored to growth and the revenue growth of the SMB, because the cost of the revenue can't be linear. Deploying work from home infrastructure is the other important topic I think we are discussing today as well. And borderless workforce management has become a reality in this COVID era. And a hybrid workforce, workplace, a phygital workplace, these are realities in COVID era. So it's increasingly important for SMBs to have to leverage BYOD and secure the organization data on the other hand through advanced next generation SASE across multiple devices for employees. The other biggest challenge is how do we keep our employees motivated and manage the productivity? And maybe there are more modern tools and technologies which could provide super personalized motivation techniques, performance management techniques using neurosciences and cognitive interventions, and also the on employee wellness and mental health as well. The other biggest issue which has also cropped up in this borderless workforce is background verification and the need for fraud detection in terms of employee credentials. This is now kind of a very hot topic in terms of how do we kind of manage fraud through blockchain powered technology as well. This is I think the other item I would probably talk about is in terms of gig economy, which I think every SMB has to kind of leverage. But the key part of leveraging the gig economy is that integrating technology to monitor productivity throughputs and and how do we kind of, compensate the gig economy workers for the outcome? So I think all this has to be managed seamlessly using digital tools and technologies. The other topic is connectivity and online collaboration. I think the COVID era has been a kind of a boon, and it's been an explosion of this particular track in terms of unified communication and collaboration tools. Edge cloud and leveraging the UC to the hilt for real-time decision making and speed to market could be an extremely powerful asset for SMEs. SMEs can become extremely agile and take on large organizations who are struggling to change. And this will also help them to take away a huge share of wallet from large enterprises because of this advantage. The other big aspect is data security. Most of the SMBs are going to be technology-enabled business models by adopting digital first and cloud first. And so most of the conventional security tools, have not kept pace, to be very honest, either way, or they are extremely expensive for an SMB, are not able to provide the best solution for the kind of business models which are so rapidly evolving. So if you ask me, the ultimate thing is we need to come up with cost-effective, with superior technologies where small businesses need enterprise-level protection without complexity, low cost, and expertise. This means that we need to, the security that consolidates the functions to achieve a high level of protection, security, and that does not require large stuff. But in a nutshell, I think its time has come for cybersecurity as a service. Is a big opportunity the way we look at it. And also the last important point is the cost optimization models with newer technology in industry. Everything from infra, people, and all resources should be just in time and elastic in nature, aligned to revenues and business outcomes for the SMBs to survive and thrive. And this is very, very critical for them. Cost of cloud can be reduced by almost 30 to 40% by superior hyperscaler technologies and commercial models linked to revenue growth of SMBs and elastic just-in-time pre-configured cloud, because I don't think they can have a spare capacity, and they can afford that as well. This has to be really thought through in terms of elasticity for them. And also the reduced cost of storage by deciding which data is to be stored and discarded at the edge is extremely important in this day of data explosion, because the cost of storage could be prohibitive if you don't have a data strategy. Real-time analytics and prescriptive analytics will drive huge business efficiencies and optimize cost for the SMBs, and through maybe come up with some centralized cognitive CXO command centers, which could help CXOs of an SMB to take decisions very quickly and swiftly. And finally, of course, the employee productivity and efficiency, I touched upon it, becomes extremely important to drive better employee efficiency, and hence business efficiency and lower costs. So broadly, these are the key themes, I think, which we'll be discussing today. And just to summarize, if you ask me, from an overall SME segment perspective, this is a great opportunity for technology services providers. Anything as a service in a box for SMEs, all as a SaaS or a BPaaS in an OpEx pay-as-you-go model. Digital customer experience, unified communication and collaboration. One, automation as a service, low-code, no-code technology. Cybersecurity as a service. Digital supply chain and logistics, in terms of it could be fleet management, it could be, looking at the entire end-to-end solution. But again, pre-configured for an industry. It could be for agri-tech, it could be for, food tech, but it has to be pre-configured. All the back offices have to be kind of, digital-led, automated, order to cash, procure to pay, high to retire. Finally, it could be when CTO as a service or any CXO service, which can be offered for the SMBs. The second great opportunity is for the government, to kind of replicate some of the global best practices like Go Digital program of Singapore, that incentivize SMB segments to adapt technology and become digital first companies, which is an incentive for them. Recommend pre-approved partners and list of technology in a box for SMB consumption. This also is a private-public partnership. Technology leaders and governments could work together to build this. It's a win-win for everybody. Establish sovereign cloud, which are industry ready for SMB segments. And if you ask me, finally, SMBs should plan for a future fit technology roadmap and leverage the power of 5G. And this brings a great opportunity, for even telcos and technology services providers to come together to provide cutting-edge, end-to-end orchestrated solutions. Fundamentally, to conclude, I think the key trends are very, very clear. And SMBs not just plan for today, but also try and see how we can build a roadmap for the future, which is a clear shift from hardware-defined to a software-defined, a technology roadmap, cognitive computing services at the edge, analytics at the edge, cybersecurity as a service, secure the edge, including intelligent devices through SASE, blockchain-powered zero-trust systems to manage compliance traceability from an edge to edge. I think these are the things which we need to incorporate into the roadmap. And I'm sure this will build a disruption-proof, future-ready, resilient digital SMB industry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a great, insightful session. In fact, we have there are some questions from audience as well, which I may shoot it across to you. So the first question from the audience is going to be what solutions are available to facilitate or to ease the remote working? And also there is one more question added on to it. How can challenges for hybrid working be encountered? So these are the two questions across to you, sir.
Well, as I said, there are a lot of solutions, but I don't want to talk about the solutions which we offer. But generally, if you ask me, there are two parts. As I said, these SASE products are extremely important for work from home solutions, because employees log in from multiple devices. How do we control that, and how do we manage our various levels of security access across devices, which is available? Second, also we need to kind of marry this into productivity monitoring tools as well, whether it could be using facial recognition tools in terms of that, because there are a lot of, and workforce has also evolved today. So though as organizations we build on trust and integrity, and we expect our employees to reciprocate, but there is also technology which is required also to monitor productivity. But so these are standard platforms which are available today. Now, in fact, in a box which is available, hosted, it's all plug and play. The third thing, there's also a host of next generation productivity management tools which are there as well, because it's extremely in a diverse workforce. How do you manage a workforce which is not physical anymore? How do you give performance feedbacks? How do you do that? So I think a lot of collaborative tools. That's the reason why this is a convergence of technology, including your unified collaborative tools versus performance management. They all go together. It's kind of a kit, the way we look at it. A lot of service providers are offering this in a box. The way I look at it, if let's say 1,000 people work from home, we can have a kind of a menu card of tools which could work across security, productivity, efficiency management, and even including employee well-being. The way I look at it, actually.
Thank you, sir, for such a great, insightful session and answers. And I would request you to stay back to accept an award from us as a token of appreciation. So I just wanted to request our tech team to show the award on the screen, please.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thompson, MD, and today. All right, so next we are quickly moving on to another interesting technology session, for which I would like to welcome Mr. Yogesh Dubey, Solution Expert, Tata Tele Business Services. So over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nishan. Let me share my screen. Hope I am audible and my screen is visible.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, okay. So hi everyone, very good afternoon to all of you. And this is the universal truth: change is the only constant. Okay, And probably according to the time, according to the situation, we need to adopt a change. And during this pandemic, we have seen that everybody has adopted change because this is the question of our survival. So today I will talk about what is happening in the technology front, what is happening in the SME, and what are the smart solutions we have which can help you during this such a challenging time. So we have seen that during this pandemic, all the SMEs are a bit concerned about their business continuity plan. So even most of the SMEs, they have built this BCP plan so that if this kind of situation comes in future, so that they can just face or they can just run their business by using this BCP plan. Even we have seen that SMEs are now adopting cloud-based services or hosted services so that they can just save a huge infrastructure cost. And this kind of services can be accessed from anywhere. Okay, so whether they are working from home or they are working from office, or it's kind of hybrid scenario where some of the employees are working from office or some employees are working from home. So any kind of scenario, so their resources can be available or accessible from anywhere. Also, we have seen that during this pandemic, there are a lot of cyber attacks are happening. Even when the big organizations as well as the SME, micro SME, everybody is suffering from this cyber threats. Okay, so now it's very important for everybody to just secure your database, your network, your application from any kind of these threats. Okay, so now SMEs are building their security setups. They are deploying security mechanisms so that they can just safeguard their database. Okay. Now, during this pandemic, we have seen that basic challenges as a SME you have faced. Okay. So during this work from home, obviously it's very difficult for you to just track your employees productivity, whether they are working, not working, or what they are doing basically. Okay. And second thing is that how to collaborate. Okay, so most of the employees started working from home. So how they can interact with their client, their customer, their vendor, their partner, their colleagues, their manager, supervisors. So this kind of basic challenges we have seen. And third thing is that during this work from home or work from anywhere kind of scenario, how you can access your office infrastructure, your application, your server. So these are the basic challenges during this pandemic we have seen. And obviously, this kind of challenges is addressed by adopting technology. Okay, so there are a lot of technologies, tools, and techniques are available which can help you to address this kind of challenges. Okay, so these are some basic guidelines which might help you while you are adopting any technology. Okay, so nowadays, yes, it's advisable or it's a suggestion by the many of the players, right? Rather building your own infrastructure, it's advisable. You can just subscribe the hosted solutions or cloud-based solutions. Okay, so this is how you can just save your huge infrastructure cost. You can save your capex, and only you can also pay. There are service providers who are offering pay as you grow kind of scenario, wherein you can just pay whatever you are planning to use or utilize. Okay, and also you can just optimize your resources. Okay, so how many types of resources are required, or how much resources you need for your organization. So accordingly, you can just provision and you can just save the over provisioning of your resources. Okay. And also there are vendors available who are providing the new technologies with some kind of value addition. So rather just subscribing a single technology, it's advisable. You can just select a vendor who are providing some value additions or end-to-end solutions for your organization. Okay. The last but not the least, generally this part is ignored by us while we are adopting any technology. So also it's a very important for us to finalize a good vendor who can provide this post-sale service and support. Generally, this part is ignored by us. Many of us, we ignore this part, but this is a very bottleneck, I can say. And if we are adopting any technology and post that we are not getting proper sales or proper support, then probably this is there is no use of adopting such kind of technology. Okay. Now, as a Tata Tele Business Services, as a technology partner, as a solution partner, how we can help you? So obviously, during this pandemic, we have understand our customer requirement, and accordingly, we have adopted change, and we have started some new product and services. which might help you during this challenging time. Okay. So in connectivity, we have started Sd-Wan. Also, we have seen that most of the SMEs, they are adopting cloud services. Okay, so we are providing a direct connectivity or private connectivity, which can connect you, your employees who are working from home or your office to direct your cloud service provider. So we have done tie-up with all the major cloud service providers like AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM, Google, Oracle, wherein we can just provide a private connectivity and you can have the optimum performance of your resources. We have started smart internet and building the redundancy. We are started the dual last mile internet so that if a single path goes down, so that second path will be available to serve you. In collaboration, we have done tie-up with Zoom and we are providing their services for Zoom meeting and Zoom webinar. In cloud, we have started our cloud telephony platform in the name of SmartFlow. And in security, we have started the cybersecurity solutions. Okay. Now I will talk about some of the good services, right, which is right now very good demand, and we are getting a very good demand from the SME segments. Okay, so that is the SmartFlow, and this is our cloud telephony platform. And I am referring this is cloud telephony platform, so you need not to build any kind of infrastructure at your premises. Infrastructure, I mean, you need not to have EPBX, you need not to have the telephone instrument at your premises. And you need not to have any kind of physical connectivity like PRI or SIP at your premises. So this infrastructure is built by service provider, by Tata Tele Business Services in our data center, and you can just subscribe the services based on your requirement. Okay. So this cloud telephony supports work from anywhere or work from home kind of scenario, wherein your employee can just access this platform and they can make and receive calls from your customers. Okay. Also, you can save a huge infrastructure cost because there is no any infrastructure you need to build. And also, very, very important thing is that how you can track your employee. During this pandemic, this was the very I can say, very common challenge we have received from our customers. Okay. So this platform gives you a good analytics wherein you can just monitor which employee is talking to whom at what time and how many calls they have received or how many calls they have made and what they have done the conversation. So this kind of high level or in-depth analysis you can find through this cloud telephony platform. And definitely that can just help you to analyze the employee productivity. Okay. And in this cloud telephony platform, we are providing multiple type of services based on our SME customers' need and requirement. And since this is a cloud-based platform and this is kind of application-based platform, so it's a very customizable platform. So based on your unique use cases, we can just customize the solution and we can serve you. So let's say if you have any requirement wherein you just wanted to publish one number and your customer can call on this number and then you will play some greetings and based on that the call will be routed to your employee. So we can build this IVR in this platform and we can create a multi-level IVR based on your use cases. This platform supports click-to-call. So this click-to-call can be integrated with your applications or your CRMs or your ERP, wherein your employee can just click on the tab and the call will be placed by this platform. Okay. Also, this platform supports API integration, so you can just integrate this platform with any of your applications or your mobile applications or any kind of your CRM or ERP. This platform provides some missed call services wherein you can just get a missed call and you can just get the complete database of your caller and later on you can just call back and you can have the healthy conversation with them. This platform supports the campaign. So let's say if you want to run any kind of campaign, so you can use this platform wherein you can just send a recorded voice message to all your database, or this platform supports the auto dialer wherein this platform just dial your client number and connect to your agents, okay, or your employees. So this kind of services can be built with this platform. I will talk about some of the use cases. Okay, so this is a BPO company, and during this pandemic, when the work from home announced by the government of India, then probably there was a big trouble for this kind of organization. Okay, so generally, if you experience that how this call center or KPO, BPO kind of organization works, there is a huge hall and there are a lot of computers and there are a lot of employees. They are just talking to their clients. Okay, so during this work from home, so it's a very difficult to just set up the complete infrastructure to each and every employee's home. Okay, so that is not feasible at all. So during this time, they were looking for some kind of solutions wherein all this infrastructure cost can be reduced, and this kind of solution is a easy or ready to plug and play kind of scenario. Okay. So we have given this cloud telephony solution to this particular organization, and wherein we have done a lot of customization basis on their requirements. So we have provided the API integration. We have integrated this cloud telephony platform to their applications so that their employee can just log in on their application and they can make and receive the calls. Also, we have developed some call center features like call monitoring, call whispering, call barging, this kind of sticky agent, this kind of feature we have developed for this organization. Okay. Now I will talk about one of the restaurant, right? So probably you can just imagine, right? So even very micro SMEs, they are adopting the technology. So this is a very small restaurant, and they have adopted this cloud telephony platform. And the real use case for this particular restaurant is that they were missing some information from their client. Okay. So let's say some client's requirement is less spicy food or Punjabi food or Jain food. So this kind of small things they were missing to capture, and probably they were getting the customer complaint. Okay. So they were looking some solutions wherein in real-time basis they can just record all this small information, and this information can be passed to their chef, and chef can prepare the food according to the customer need. So we have provided this platform wherein this kind of information can be captured, and there will be no chance to miss any single information. Okay. In security, so yes, I have mentioned that there are a lot of cyber attacks are happening, and there are some basic common channels wherein these cyber attacks are happening. Like if you are exposing your network on internet without any precautions, or you are just accessing, or you are just browsing something, or you are just sending or receiving email. So probably this might a common channel wherein these attacks can be happen. Okay. So keeping in mind, we have started our smart internet, and this is a very good solution, and this is the requirement of the time wherein we are just building the security solutions on top of the internet ridge line. Okay. So internet ridge line is just internet connectivity, and on the top of it, we are building this DNS security wherein you can just restrict the cyber attacks. Okay. And also we are providing the manageability. So there will be a web portal, and this web portal, you can just configure your policies. So what kind of content you want to filter, or which website you want to filter. So this kind of policy you can build. Okay. And in cyber security solutions, we have started a very good solutions, and all the solutions are cloud-based solutions. So there is no need to build any kind of infrastructure at your premises. So we have started endpoint security, which by using this endpoint security, you can just safeguard your endpoints like your mobile phone, your computer, your tablets. Okay, email security, while you are sending any emails that are receiving any emails, so that will be filtered from any kind of spam, virus, malware. Web security, so if your employees are just browsing any website, so they might not know whether this website is genuine or phishing website, or this website has been hacked. So probably this web security platform has the visibility about all the websites, and probably this can block the access of your employees to any of the phishing websites. Okay. Virtual firewall, so this is kind of software version of firewall which can be installed on your virtual server, and we can configure the firewall policies. Multi-factor authentication, this is just a zero trust solution wherein you can just authenticate your employees, your user who are trying to access your applications or server. Okay. In collaboration tools, so probably everybody is aware what is Zoom. Okay, so this is a collaboration platform wherein you can have the virtual meetings, or you can have the audio, video, and web conferencing. So we have done tie-up with Zoom, and we are providing their Zoom meeting and Zoom webinar. So Zoom meeting is two-way communication wherein host and participant can talk with each other, while Zoom webinar is just a one-way communication wherein host or panel of speaker can just deliver their speech, and rest participant can just listen. The features Zoom is offering, so it's good features, right? So they are providing the unlimited conferencing call. They are providing the marathon meetings. The single meeting can go up to 30 hours. They are providing live transcription. They are providing the cloud recording. So the very, very good features are available with this platform. So probably you might explore that. Also, we have started this Sd-Wan. It's a software-defined wide area network. So during this pandemic, we have seen that the utilization of internet is increased. Okay. So keeping in mind, we have started this software defined WAN solutions, wherein this can be built on your internet, and this is operator agnostic model. So whichever internet you are using, whether it's a broadband internet line or 3G or 4G SIM card, on top of it, we can build this SD-WAN solution, and we can provide this connectivity from your work from home to your employee to your office connectivity, or your HQ or head office to your branch connectivity by using is this solution. Okay. And here we are providing this security feature on top of it. Okay, so this is not just a pure SD-WAN. Rather, I can say this is SD-WAN plus the security, wherein we are building the UTM features, and we can just secure your network, or we can secure this connectivity. Okay, so this is how we are providing this SD-WAN. And probably you can just subscribe our social media site, wherein you can just get the latest update about what is our new offering. And this is our capability. So Tata Tele Business Services is providing services across the India. So all the major cities we can provide our services. So all the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 kind of cities we have, we can offer our services. We are serving more than 40,000 SME customers. And also we have more than 1,25,000 kilometer optical fiber network. Okay. And this is our complete product portfolio. So we are serving enterprise business from last 15 years, and this is on our own experience, based on our customer feedback. We have designed and developed this complete portfolio. So our majority of business is connectivity. So we are providing voice and data connectivity. But apart from basic connectivity, we are into security. We are providing collaboration tools. We are providing cloud services, cloud server, and cloud storage. If you are doing marketing activities, so we have a very good solution for marketing activities. So we are providing bulk SMS gateway. We have cloud telephony. We have OBD campaigner. Okay, and also we are providing this IoT solutions. So this is our complete product portfolio. So I think this is my last slide. So that's what I had to share with you. So thank you. And over to you, Nishant.
Thank you, Mr. Yogesh Dubey, for such a great, insightful technology presentation. And look forward to having you, look forward to hearing your insights again on the upcoming panel discussion as well. And before we quickly moving on to the panel discussion, we have a poll to run. And just this poll is only going to be for audience. So let's have the poll run, please. An audience will have 1 minute to complete the poll. Another 30 seconds to go. Another 10 seconds. Yes, the time up. Can we close the poll, please? Thank you. So now we are quickly moving on to the interesting panel discussion for the day, for which I would like to welcome Mr. Pankaj Arora, Engineering Manager from Google, who's going to be moderating the session. Welcome, Mr. Pankaj Arora. And I would also like to welcome Mr. Maulik Bansali, Chief Executive Officer, NetWeb Software Private Limited. Thank you for joining us, Maulik. And I would like to welcome Mr. Rupesh Shah, founder and CEO at Baroda Web. Thank you, Mr. Shah, for joining us. And Mr. P.S. Reddy, Mr. Srinivas Reddy, Global Chief Technology Officer, Startec BPO. Thank you, sir, for taking time and joining us. And of course, yeah, Mr. Yogesh Dubey, Solution Expert, Tata Tele Business Services. Yes, over to you, Mr. Pankaj.
Thanks, Nishant. So we have the panelists ready, and let's start with the basic problem. And the basic problem is most SMEs in India are not tech focused. So how is that transformation happening? And what are the barriers and drivers, when they are trying to leverage disruptive technologies? Maybe I'll start with Malik. What are your thoughts on what are the key challenges or key barriers and the drivers as well? If you could just throw some light on that.
Sure. Thank you for having me today on this very important, very interesting discussion that we are having. Uh, this is a very pertinent question. I mean, while SMEs or small medium business are very agile in nature, but are they really ready enough to respond to what is really required, right? And that brings in various different factors to see are they really ready. We have seen and also heard from our keynote speaker earlier that things have changed, of course, and we have to reimagine our business completely. And having that said, how do we reimagine? I think it's important to first really look at in terms of, are we really data ready in the first place? And we may be into tech or ITES industry ourselves, but are we even data ready ourselves? I think that's a very important question to be asked. And several times, even if we are data ready, are we really able to bring that data together and correlate for our better business intelligence, right? So that's the first point. The second very important thing is, are we really looking at, when we talk about reimagine business, are we looking at the ways now world is requiring us to do business with, and the way things have moved on? I mean, it's very interesting to see how really pandemic has really changed the things as we look at, as we see everything which was centralized has now gone into really decentralized mode. We are required to work from anywhere, support from anywhere, shop from anywhere, study from anywhere, and so on and so forth. So we're talking about distributed systems at large, and of course we heard about that, what technologies really come handy to be able to do so, and how secured are we really to be able to even enable to do so. But it's very important to understand the changing business models as well, right? What we did in past possibly is not really good anymore going forward. So are we really open for changing the way really we should look at business? The business models have changed, the commercial models have changed. We heard about K recovery. How do we really still take advantage of the opportunities which are still available, but that requires a whole different way of looking at business models. And a lot of our SMEs are not possibly aware in terms of what has changed and what and how really this business model should be aligned towards. For example, it has to be partnership driven, in my own opinion, because it does require a lot of innovation, right? And with a lot of scarce resources inside within our own businesses, how do we still drive that, right? And I think one very important factor is to, by considering partnership and to be able to bring in the innovation. And of course, innovation can be two ways. It could be either inside out, so you innovate something of your own and take it out to the world, or it could be outside in. So for example, if you see a very innovative business, something outside a startup which is working out on a very innovative way of doing things, or a solution or a service, you want to possibly invest in them, partner with them, and bring that in and bring that to your portfolio to be able to bring value to your clients. So business models will have to be reimagined. And I think that's what I would rather underline on, is to reimagine our business in a big way and from all different aspects. And very important thing is, how are we really managing our talent? Right? A workforce is something which is very important to us. With growing opportunities, we all are going through that kind of a pain. How do we get this talent pool? Are we having enough talent pool? So first is to really create this talent pool, and second is to having access to this talent pool, right? I think that's another very important factor. Earlier, we start with kind of engaging with talent is good. The strategy is to shift left, which means engage with resources, engage with your people much earlier in time, even before they are passing out from the colleges, so that you have access to those. You reduce your training times and get them on board to work along with you. This is very important to support all the opportunities that we have and to deliver on those. Thank you.
Thanks, Malik. So I think you touched upon, just to summarize, you touched upon three major things. One is reimagining business models, the way we have been working in the past versus what today and maybe in future. Second, you talk about collaboration, and third, you talk about talent shortage. talent shortage is a global issue. I think that is something maybe we'll spend the entire discussion on it, but we will not be able to
Absolutely.
find a solution for it. Let's focus on the collaboration, something which we as an industry leaders can help the SMEs do more collaboration. So maybe I'll move on to Yogesh. And Yogesh, the question is looking at collaboration. How do you ensure that you have right opportunities in the market for SMEs to innovate? How do you think that partnerships with large enterprise can accelerate the use of new technologies? Whether it is with the large enterprise or whether it is with the service providers, including yours, how do you think that would help go to the next level?
Yeah, thanks, Pankaj. So, yeah, I will start by throwing some question to my audience. Okay. So, 2 years back or before this COVID, have you ever imagined that our kids will get schooling in home? Have you ever imagined that you will use the mobile application to just buy a vegetable? Have you ever imagined that this our cooperative housing societies, they will just use any collaboration tool like Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, or any other collaboration platform to just have the AGMs, right? Have you ever imagined that our doctors will use a video chat to just provide the treatment to patients? Okay, so yes, probably no, right? But nowadays all these things are happening. So does it mean that these technologies were not available prior to this COVID? No, technologies were available. But this COVID has taught us how to use this technology very effectively and in a very efficient manner. Okay, so it's very important for you as an organization. So which kind of technologies is best fit for your organization, and how you can use that technology very effectively and very efficiently. Okay, so probably there might be a scenario wherein you are not aware or you are not a subject matter in all the technologies available in the market. But obviously, there are partners, there are vendors, there are service providers who are subject matter expert about that on those technologies, and probably you can seek help from them. And probably this kind of vendors, this kind of partners, this kind of service provider may just make the aware about those technology, what is happening in the technology front, what is happening in the market, how the market is changing with the technologies, and how the other industries are applying those kind of technologies, and they are just becoming competitive in the market. So as a Tata Tele Business Services, this is our endeavor to just bring the awareness what is happening in the market by using this kind of forum, and even there are many events we are doing to just educate our customers, our SME customers, specifically SME customers, wherein I think there is a bit lack of knowledge about the technologies. Okay, so we are doing a fantastic job, I can say, and we are trying to just educate all our customers about the technologies, about the market dynamics, about the best fitment solutions for their organizations, or the similar kind of organizations, what kind of technologies they are using, and they are growing or they are improving their productivity. So this type of things we are doing on a daily basis, I can say.
Thanks, Yogesh. So, just summarizing what you just gave the insights to the audience. So, the way to learn is attend more summits, look at the competitors as well, look at the vendors who are providing these technologies, and do that deep dive before you start implementing anything from your in-house perspective. Thanks for those insight, Yogesh, and this is definitely helpful for the audience. Now, let's move forward. So while we talked about one set of industries or SMEs which are still not being digital, and there is a way where we can talk about new technologies and bring them on board, there are another set of SMEs who are, let's say, using legacy applications or legacy products in non-cloud based thing. So I will go over to Srinivas Reddy. So how do you think that advances that have happened in cloud technology has motivated SMEs, and how they are leveraging from the cloud based technologies, edge technologies? If any insights you have on the growth of SMEs because of this. So now we are focusing our shift from SMEs who are not into technologies to the SMEs who are into technology but using legacy product and doing a transition to a cloud or future ready technologies?
Yeah, thanks, Pankaj. See, the SMEs who want to migrate to the cloud technologies, I think, as you rightly mentioned, majority of the applications are not yet cloud ready for majority of the SMEs. That is a main critical point. And second point is the security is a critical, how they can secure once they migrate to the cloud. And third is, it is difficult to little bit as on today, I think is a talent that we discussed and we are discussing. The talent for SMEs to attract the right talent who can manage this cloud technologies is a challenge for the SMEs, especially because majority of the people are attracted by big players like Google or Tata or Microsoft. All majority of the cream talent, people are acquiring it. So SMEs acquiring a critical talent is becoming a challenge. And so these are the three main topics, if you ask me, SMEs to more adopt in terms of the cloud technologies. And they're not yet, means there are a lot of challenges, sorry, a lot of changes happening in the cloud technologies like containers, Kubernetes, serverless, microservices, DevOps, IoT, artificial intelligence. All these things will help SMEs a lot of things to enhance or accelerate their business, definitely. But these are the challenges for now, at least. I think as a partners of like Google and all these people has to help these SMEs to overcome these challenges, to get these kind of advanced technologies which are available in the cloud. So that is one of the requirement what we are, at least my request to these players to help SMEs on that.
Thanks, Srinivas. I think all these large organizations are helping in their bit. There are lots of open conferences that happen, lots of knowledge sharing happen. But yeah, I definitely there are scopes of improvements, and I think these all these organizations are taking care of it. It's a partnership actually. When an SME comes on board to any cloud provider, it's a long-term commitment that comes from both the end. So it's a win-win situation for both the parties and not only for SMEs. So definitely all the cloud providers are interested in doing that collaboration with SME, and they look forward to. Yeah.
One of the critical challenge for the SMEs is the majority of your cloud providers are asking for the long-term commitments. What is
Okay.
the SME? The difficult SMEs to accept that kind of commitments.
I think there are both the models. If you
Both the
get,
models
yeah,
are available definitely on demand and the commitment model. Both models are
right. So
business models not accepting that kind of models.
yeah, so I think that is something maturity will come with time, with more acceptance of the cloud providers. So just to summarize, Srinivas, so you talked about cloud ready application issues from the SME side. You talked about security and the right talent. I think we should leave right talent outside the scope of today's discussion. We can spend an entire couple of hours or even more for it. Talking about security, I think that is another aspect which is served by cloud, but looks like there is no enough knowledge to SMEs, and because of which they are reluctant to ensure that the right set of practices are followed. So, and again, it comes back to the talent. If they have the right talent, they are able to implement the best security practices and ensure the data is safe across the communication channels. So I think
We lost the Pankaj or
Yeah, we lost.
okay. So we have talked about SMEs which are not digitally ready. We looked at scenarios where they can do partnerships. Now we talked about SMEs who are trying to migrate to the cloud, but what are the challenges they are facing? Now let's look at the employees perspective or the COVID specific perspective. And for this, I would like to go to Mr. Rupesh. So how do you think, how can you ensure that the productivity is maintained when you are working from home? These last couple of years have been a challenge for the entire industry. And how do you think that the world has evolved a couple of years ago when this COVID lockdown started versus today? What has eventually happened in the last couple of years which have ensured that the productivities are to a similar level to a pre-COVID levels?
Yeah, Pankaj, answer to your question is basically it is question of debate of work from home against work from office. Uh, that starting of this decade, it was actually it is a force from offline to online. That was a force, whereas today it is online and offline could be anything. So it is going to be a choice. Earlier 2 years before it was a force, so you don't have any choice, and that was basically a something which companies really started thinking on getting into the IT-enabled services and working from home culture. The entire new business working model, business structures have been established. Now, to the question to the productivity. So, couple of these 2 years, majority of the companies who have already started working on work from home model against a work from office model, they have started realizing where do they stand. Somewhere it is basically setting up at the company's level also, such as security aspects coming in the picture, data structures coming in the picture, production planning related structures. So at all is basically, it is basically a learning phase for the even the majority of the SMEs and majority of the companies are also there, wherein they need to set up their own setup structures, and then they could ask or expect from their employees to be a more productive. Those who are already set up earlier, they are already in place and they already started enjoying the good fruits of from the businesses. As per the, I think the structure, as per the one of the Reserve Bank of US, one of the survey talks about
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, did we?
Yeah, I think we lost some possible.
Right, we
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, Rupesh. Okay.
I think, you know, while we wait for Rupesh to join in, I think this is a very important subject of work from home versus work from office. It's going towards a hybrid model, considering best of both the sides. Productivity remains to be at the core of it, where it requires employee engagement at the highest level. Employee engagement with the transparency in place, with trust in place, with security in place. And when we talk about productivity, there are various, of course, policing doesn't really work, right? What does work is giving them, sensitizing them on what's really expected out of it. So it's more around result oriented rather than activity oriented accountability. And when we talk about result oriented accountability, it's very important to be clear in terms of what is expected out of them and how, right, in terms of productivity, in terms of quality and so forth. And I think to be able to enable that, of course, that empowering has to be there with right accountability practices kept into place, because that's very important at the end of the day in terms of how do we measure their success and how do we measure our deliveries as well. So you know, there are various, there are collaborative platforms, there are collaborative
yeah.
that they're around. Okay, over to you, Rupesh, again.
No, that's fine. I think if you can continue, you can continue. So that's fine.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the setting up the IT infra at the company's level, because the productivity comes in the picture. The first role is from the company side, and then it comes to the employee, because employees are the drivers to the company. Every company should have, definitely they need to give certain platforms, certain structures to work on to their employee to get the productive. And in my opinion, finally, it is based on even the business also, in which business the company deals in, because it runs on the business models of the individual company also. So that's what I'm talking about. Yes, one thing more it is there. Now it is more under the collaborative approach, because one strength could be a overcome on others' weaknesses by doing the all collaboration related structures using the ITEs and IT related services from even from work from home. That was one of the best thing happening in the industry. That's all from my side. Yeah.
Thanks, Rupesh and Maulik, for your
Sorry
thoughts
for
on.
disconnections of the internet in between.
No worries. That is because of working from home.
Yeah,
That's a standard infrastructure
right.
issue. But coming
Can
back,
ask Tata to help you on that. They will fix the problem.
Yeah, I think.
We can help.
okay.
In
So
fact,
just
unfortunately, we
yeah.
are using the Tata's internet only. I'm really sorry to say, but we are on the Tata platform.
If I may add something, what's really important is the collaborative approach that you take. And I think earlier, Yogesh mentioned about collaborative technologies which are really available to put into place, to open up channels of discussion, to open up channels of communication. And I think there is no substitute to communication. Just communicate, communicate, and communicate, in my honest opinion. And one very important thing is really what's happening here. You are when someone is working from home or from anywhere, you are especially from home. You're not only employing that employee, but you're actually employing the family. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but you are getting into their homes. So that cultural change and shift is very important to understand, to engage the employee. The more you get also engaged with the family, it empowers the employee to perform that much more better. And that's our own experience. So one thing which you should do is possibly look at that perspective, reward them, recognize them, but including with their families. Approach more collaborative, use technologies which recently was mentioned by our dear speaker here, Yogesh, and empower them, I think, and look for activity instead of activity-based outcomes, look for result-oriented outcomes.
Actually, just to continue that, Malik, so I think some policies has to be changed. HR policies has to be changed. Work from home and work from office. I think our employee strength is very intelligent now. I think they are working in multiple companies when they're working from home. I think that is one of the big debate.
Ideally, in my opinion, this is going to be a change in even the employee structure. As I said, it is 43% of the employees have started thinking. Nowadays, when we start recruiting, one of the question is added to that. Earlier, they were used to ask for the packages, timing. Now, more question has been added from the employees, prospect employees, that are you providing work from home? That was one of the questions which is coming in almost all interviews which we are doing.
And just to add to the last line, Rupesh, one more question will come in future. Do you have any restrictions of me doing freelancing? So the model is changing. As Maulik has rightly pointed out, the focus has to be changed more from number of hours or productivity to result oriented accountability or metric driven, payments. I mean, it is something that US already has, even in software world at least, where it's more of a contractor jobs. You take us work, you do it, and you complete it. I see world. I mean, India also progressing towards that stage only from an employee engagement perspective, where people want to work at their own pace. They want to work 4 hours a day. They want to work only twice a day. So the models of employees working for organizations will change maybe in a couple of years. It what I see, and COVID has actually accelerated that growth. People are now looking for more work-life balance as compared to earlier. Any thoughts on this perspective? Anyone?
Pankaj, to add on that, see, this is helping us a lot. Work from home model is helping for BPO companies in two aspects. One is borderless contact center. For example, if I need to get a language which is not spoken in that particular country, so I can extend that work from home and I can get the talent from any other parts of the world where I can get that language. And the second thing is when I have a peak call volumes in the morning, and in the evening, if the employee is coming to office, is sitting idle in the afternoon. So what we are saying is now take a break and please join when we have a call volume. So that will help a lot for the BPO companies. So this work-life balance will also happen for the employees. At the same time, it is serving our purpose as well.
Thanks, Srinivasan. I think that is also a good insight and is helping everyone. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, some network issue at my side as well. Thanks everyone, and it was a good debate. Nishant, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Pankaj, for such a great, insightful panel discussion. Hope I'm audible to everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well.
Great, fantastic. In fact, we have a question for the panel. Actually, the first question would be, yes, how can the challenges for the hybrid working environment be encountered? So that is the first question. So, question over to the panel.
So, yeah, Malik, you want to go ahead?
I think we already talked about it, in my opinion. But if there is any specific challenge that is being referred, then we need to know that. Largely it is about, again, the productivity, okay, and making sure that your people are productive enough. Number one, to see that where they're working from, are they really comfortable working? And I think it's important to understand that, empower them more, have accountability, which is, again, I'll repeat, which is result oriented, right? Recognize them more, engage more. Once in a while, it's good to get them to the offices to show their faces and connect with them much better. So to share an example, few businesses who I know, and more businesses are adapting this, is to kind of, let's say, for example, I have a lot of people from outside state where I'm in, and getting them back to work is tough. So I think it seems like possibly we'll have to continue to have them continue to work from where they are. That does not necessarily mean that they will continue to work from home. I may think of opening up satellite small offices somewhere in a co-working center somewhere in that specific city and still get them to office over there, right? The reason, because then they are really set in a different mode of working, where they really are more time disciplined and are focused, and if it works out that way, possibly get them to really to work to office at the city where they are for at least a couple of days in a week, though they may continue to work from where they are. That's that's a trend which I'm seeing going along, and big business therefore for co-working centers as well, in a way.
Yeah, it's
Thanks,
basically
Malik.
a working environment also makes sense when you are talking about the productivity.
Yeah, and ensure that you give them specific HR policies which include basic work from
Right.
home furnishing, if not already done. I think most of the companies have already done that. So okay, thanks Rupesh, and thanks Malik. Next question is, how do you manage multi-cloud environment in terms of security cost optimization? So maybe I can take a stab on this one. So if you okay, all the cloud providers have a good level of security. They are certified by the standard security agencies. The point is, implementation has to be done properly. Now most of the companies, there are specialist companies which helps you implement cloud for you. You can leverage their capabilities because they have the right set of expertise, and you don't need to have a security engineer at your side. Now looking at cost optimization, interestingly, there are lots of tools available or such companies available which helps you optimize the cost as well. You can just do search for Google, for example, AWS, Google and Microsoft implementations companies are there. They do it on your behalf. They will look at your requirements, your current requirements, future requirement, growth, traffic patterns, and they will suggest you few things which can be optimized. Very simple example, don't go for a reserved instance, use spot instance, right? So these things, they will help you understand, and basis that you can take the right decision, which is the right cloud provider for you. There are lots of free tiers which you could use till the time you grow. So it's not, actually cloud is cheaper if you use it correctly and wisely.
If you use it smartly, cloud is cheap. If you don't use it smartly, then cloud is very expensive.
Yes.
Especially what workloads you want to migrate, that is the right thing, and whether that particular workload is cloud ready or not, that is something very important before you try to migrate it. And also the managing that cloud is a critical part of it to optimize the cost.
Thanks, Srinivasan. Next question. How do we choose the right technology partner? What factors do we look at? Anyone wants to take that?
So the context of that question is something which I would like to understand. As in technology is what technology are we looking at here? Are we looking at cloud technology? Are we talking about some things that you want to kind of use technology yourself and improvise on? But either ways, I think you should look at, of course, the cost and implementation time that really requires for you to use that. One has to be aware that when you adopt a technology to use, see that there is enough flexibility available to be able to scale up. I think that's very important. You shouldn't feel like that you bought this today because you need it, but then you are boxed into that and you cannot grow from that going forward. And if you have to, then you are again stuck with the cost and the commercials of it. So I think that's very important angle, that it is not just for now, but for the maintainability of it and for the scalability of it, it has to be cost friendly. And you should be able to really re-innovate with that technology. So if you want to integrate that with your own applications, you should be able to do so. Let's say, for example, through APIs and so on. So you can leverage that to the maximum.
Thanks, Maulik. And I think I would add few more things. Looking at the question again, it talks more about technology partners. So I'm assuming some company which will help them look at the right technology. So if you're looking at a technology partner, ensure that they have been in business, look at their past
Yeah,
portfolio of the
sure,
clients they have implemented, what
sure.
is their team size, do they have disaster recovery? For example,
Correct,
if it's
correct.
a team of 5 people and 2 people goes, your entire product or your entire plan goes for a toss. So think about the company stability, their business model, and how
Yes,
long they have been in
correct.
if you are choosing a technology partner.
I think very important factor to that I would like to add that whenever you choose, I mean, we are asked this question several times, right? I mean, if you're an SME, then there's a question in terms of how reliable you are. I mean, that's a question which is asked most of the times. Being a technology partner, I think it's very important to position yourself in one single statement. I would like to say is that you should be saying this, that you are big enough to serve and small enough to change for them. And I think that takes care of the sustainability and also your agility, which is so very important, and your strongest point being in small medium enterprise.
Thank Oleg, this was really good. Big enough to support and small enough to change. Any other questions from audience?
Thank you. Anymore. So we are quickly, it was a great insightful discussion, and I would request award from Elets Technomedia. It is just as a token of appreciation. So can we have the awards from the screen, please? Engineering Manager Google for joining the session. And thank you, Mr. P.S. Reddy, Global Chief Technology Officer, StarTech BPO, for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Maulik Bhansali, Chief Executive Officer, NetWeb Software Private Limited. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rupesh Shah, Founder, Chief Executive Officer, Baroda Web, for joining the session and sharing the insights.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yogesh Dubey, Solution Expert, Tata Tele Business Services, for joining us. Thank you, panelists, for such a stimulating discussion. And I would like to hand over to Mr. Pankaj Arora to do the closing remarks for the day.
Thanks, Nishant, and thanks everyone on the panelist. It was a great, insightful session. And the one thing which I'm taking out of this session is SME in a box. So what I've tried to do is I have looked at all the comments and all the feedbacks and all the discussion we had and tried to categorize into various things what an SME needs to go digital, go online, even if it's not digital at all today. So the first category is will talk about product. The product is the core business model of the SME. So there could be solutions which you would look at will provide a core product development, a billing product platform where they can create new functionalities either themselves or maybe with the help of a tech partner who helps them easily enable and being agile to deliver requirements for their customers. The second, the important aspect is the customer. So for customer automation, they should look at customer support, customer ticketing, chat, AI ML technology is being used to ensure that customer is able to do self-service. So that's another a product which could be a part of an SME in a box. The third part is employees. So we talked about product, we talked about customer, and then the third one is employees. These are the three pillars of the overall SME organization. And for employees, they would need collaboration tools. They would need tools for their HR practices. They should not try to reinvent the wheel, look at existing products in the market and do quick onboarding to the same. And this also would have tools for the performance management, tools for their leaves, for their payrolls, and other similar employee services and HR functions. With these three key things being there, which are the verticals, they would need some horizontals. When I say horizontals, the horizontals will be a security platform, security as a service, so that the data that they are putting into the cloud, they are transferring between their on premises in a collaboration mode is being safe and secure. They have the right set of audits being done on the data, and there are no major concerns from that perspective. So security as a service is another product which they should be looking at. Again, not reinventing the wheel, but looking it taking it from a service provider or a product. Another horizontal would be regulation. Regulatory as a service is again important stuff, because if you are in a specific industry, there are specific industry specific regulation that needs to be applied, and getting that regulatory tools help you to ensure that you are always at the right side of the law and compliance. You would need a reporting and analytics platform which will help you to get the data. The data is the new oil. Based on that data, you create your insights, create your reports, and then look at the future model, how the business is evolving. There are then one could be a marketing tool as well, which could be very specific for sales and marketing team, where you are able to capture the leads, look at the leads conversions, and then look at your customers which are not active and maybe pitch upon them. Apart from that, you could have miscellaneous products. For example, if you are in a ordering space, you would need a ordering system, you would need a shipping system, you need a logistics system, you need on feet on hand system. So those kind of systems will act as a peripheral. So what we are actually looking at for an SME to digitize, we need an SME in a box. I'm not sure whether this kind of product exists today in the market or not, where I as an SME, I am doing a very simple manufacturing unit somewhere in Narela. I get up and say I want to take everything online, including my supply chain. Today, there will be tools which solve one problem, which basically is ordering problem is solved by one tool. But is there a tool or a platform which can do everything end to end for you, and you get an easy onboarding? So that's my key takeaway from this entire session. How do we get into a stage where we have an SME in a box?
Thank you, everyone. So we are at the end of the day. Thank you, all the delegates who are joining us and and share the insights. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening, chapters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.